So we are now recording the September 20th, 2019 Small Business Accounting Advisors. Hello, everyone.
Happy Friday.
Oh, happy Friday. So I want to make a quick announcement myself first. Zoom is changing. There is some security things happening. I'm not exactly sure I understand, except that you may have to enter a password unless you're given the invite link. So I have to remember to put that invite link on the Facebook group every week. Sometimes I forget. We just get so involved in everything.
Yeah, because I know the number, so I just.
Right. So if you have a hard time getting in next week, go to the Facebook group. I'll have the invite link there.
You can actually also, if you choose to, go to zoom.us and opt out of that, to where you will not have to require.
Today is the last day to do that because that change happens tonight.
So by the time you're watching this video, it's too late.
That's right. That's exactly right.
I missed the memo, and I'm a paying subscriber.
Well, the link is just the website and the number. Is there something buried in there that makes
I have no idea how the password's going to work because, like, it's not asking me to set up a password.
I bet you have to make new links.
Unless they want you to have a login and your own password, I'm not sure. We'll see next week. And if we're late, that's the reason why.
Yeah, I found this like about a week and a half ago. So I tried to post a video up for people to kind of know about it. But hopefully there'll be some way in the future to opt out of it too.
Yeah, if you can, give us that link or share it in our group, and we'll put it up for everyone. Next announcement, Brandon.
Yes.
What you got exciting coming up?
We are working with the Profit Beacon, theprofitbeacon.com, to resell their services. Really cool. I mean, we've been doing some cash flow forecasting for some of our customers, but their product, and even the product that Goldman Sachs uses in their 10,000 small business, is really just it's Excel, but really impressed with their cash flow forecasting. So we are working with them to roll that out for a couple of our clients to test it side by side, but also on the Accounting Success Group, the ASG group, rolling that out where everybody that's a part of our group can also resell that for 75%, just like we have with the rest of the group, that you can resell that. It's $49 a month per customer, but it's a really slick platform, and they say 99% forecast accuracy. I know Ernest was just talking about working with them a little bit, or they're trying to hire him, so he probably knows the intricacies of the platform and how it exchanges information with QuickBooks, but it works with desktop and online. But anyway, just got the contracts and everything where we can start working with them to resell it, and to do that as part of the ASG group.
And you,
hey Brendan, I know that like during Scaling New Heights and Woodard announced a program. I think it's what is it, an 8-week, 9-week program,
right? Where
you actually get a certification, but you work with the Profit Beacon on a much more tactical level. Right. Are you signed up for that program, or are you just doing it on your own?
No, I'm not currently. I'm doing that on my own outside of Woodard. I've taken a lot of Woodard's classes, but no, this is totally independent of that.
And you want to tell us about your webinar? The webinar really is only for your group, though.
It is for the ASG group, but it's basically, it's just going to be a demo. They're going to show you kind of the bells and whistles, how it works, what you can do with it, how it works with QuickBooks as far as the cash flow forecasting. If you decide to make a change, it does some really cool what-if scenarios. So if you were to add a product, add a service, maybe hire on an employee, if you know what changes you're looking at, then based on those changes, you can start plugging those numbers into the Profit Beacon, and it will it will map out the next 2 years and show you what your cash flow is going to look like, and so you can start doing those what if scenarios without affecting your actual QuickBooks.
So I'm looking forward to that webinar, October 1st.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Speaking of
Matthew.
webinars, I've got one coming up next week.
That's right. Want to tell us
We,
about it?
Yeah, actually, I should say Linda and I have one coming up next week. So it is going to be our special QB Community Live special QBO Advanced demo. Kind of surprised that fit into 2 lines, not 3, but that works well. So on September 26th at 9 a.m., Linda and I are going to do a Facebook Live demonstration of some of the tips and tricks and the true hidden benefits of QuickBooks Online Advanced. There's a lot of changes, changes coming up pretty quick with like user limits, so forth. So we thought it would be a good time to be able to show people what you can do with it, so they better understand the value to it, so they can make the best decision for their service and their practice, of course. So
And
if you
you're
go,
taking questions from the peanut gallery.
yes, I'm looking forward to some good questions. Actually, we want to see if somebody can present us your challenges. We will try to solve them or demonstrate them as best we can live. So maybe we can see if we can try to break, I keep saying we can try to break QuickBooks Online Advanced by making you do some really tough stuff. We will also have the ability to demonstrate some things that have not been seen yet that are very close on the horizon to be added to QuickBooks Online Advanced. So,
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Yep.
Okay. Well, we're rolling through these things pretty quick. Shannon. Payroll.
Which defunct or fraudulent payroll company are we talking about?
Well, let's do updates.
All right. So an update with the My Payroll HR. NACHA got involved with the banks, and most everybody that had any money withdrawn has received a refund of the withdrawal. Cache Bank or Cache Financial Services also initiated instructions for all the banks to ignore the 2 withdrawal requests. And they are very adamant that the first withdrawal request was made incorrectly and really should have been ignored by the bank because it was not correct. So the only one that, what?
They're blaming the bank.
Yeah, they are. But they have stopped saying that they are the only victim of this whole thing.
Awesome.
Yeah, the general counsel.
And the FBI is now looking for Michael Mann.
That's the part that's really confusing. Nobody's really talking about him. I know the FBI raided his upstate New York residence, and it sounds like his wife is still there, but nobody knows really, and nobody is saying where Michael Mann is. If he's there and they know he's there, or if he's gone and they know he's gone. Nobody's saying one way or the other what's going on with him. But
if you look on Reddit, people usually come out of the woodwork in Reddit, like his neighbors and.
Yeah. But yeah. So I mean, things are really calming down over in the My Payroll HR group, and so now the employers, most of them have found new payroll companies, and they're trying to get everything set up and trying to get everything to go as seamless as possible. But I did learn something new listening to the Cloud Accounting podcast the other day, and that was the timeline. I had the timeline off a week. So the payroll that was affected was the August 31st payroll. That's the one that got rejected or reversed. And I was thinking it was the September 6th payroll. So it was the funds that were transferred for the August 31st payroll, and then nobody got paid for the September 6th payroll. And that was, I kept asking the business owners that I was talking to, I'm like, which payroll was affected? And I think where some of my confusion came in, almost everybody I talked to had weekly payroll.
Okay, got
So,
so give us an update on your plagiarized blog.
So on Tuesday, I sent American Time and Labor Company an invoice for $4,500. And I have, oh, maybe I don't. Oh, I do have it. I do have it pulled up here. Let me move this to another screen. I will show you what the invoice looks like. Do you like what I put in there for the
Cost of
description?
plagiarized article published in Business Wire.
So I did not hear back from them until Thursday at 4 o'clock Central Time. And let me just open. I thought I had this open, but I closed it. They basically sent me an email saying that they were going to offer me $1,500 and that they had received no paying customers from them stealing my post and passing it off as their own press release.
That really has no bearing to them stealing and plagiarizing your blog.
How would you believe a liar?
Exactly.
Right,
Like,
then there's that too.
because I'm just like, you guys don't really have a good track record with me with your honesty and integrity. So, and I have no way of verifying that at all. So I have not responded, but I did find you guys are going to be really impressed with this. I am published on Yahoo Finance.
Congratulations.
No mention of me because they took it from Business Wire before they added my contact information.
Okay.
So,
Awesome.
But for the first time, my brand mentions actually brought up something that I had published on out there on the internet. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that, but people have told me that I shouldn't counter their $1,500 offer with $6,500 because that's what what I really want to do. They just,
You want to keep arguing, you want more money, right? No, exactly. I get it.
Yeah. You know, and I'll say more when next week, and hopefully this will all be settled out a little bit more. But I mean, I've been kind of having fun with it because what am I going to do? Get upset with it and then I'm mad, and that's not really productive.
Don't let them ruin your energy.
No. Plus, I've been getting a lot of good publicity from this. I mean, I'm on Twitter. And I got mentioned in episode 112 of the Cloud Accounting podcast.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen around the 22, 23 minute mark, they call me Shannon Thesis instead of Shannon Tice, but that's okay.
I would have said it wrong too. I'm sorry.
It's
I
Tice.
had no idea how to say your name. I've known you forever. Thies.
Yeah.
It's
Thies.
nice.
It's Tice.
Tice.
So
It's not
with-
even an H. It's tight, like T-I-C.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
So
you
with
spelled your name wrong.
German last names, with the EI or IE combo, whichever letter appears second is the one you say.
Oh, okay.
I grew up in Germany.
So
it's all good. It's annoying. It's almost done, but in the end, it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, you are connected to them, and I think that's the biggest thing. You don't want to be connected to somebody that plagiarizes work.
No.
So we'll see how it all plays out in the end. But you know, that what happened to me is so minor in comparison to what all the business owners are still going through, because they had the money for their payroll and their taxes taken out of their bank accounts, and then their employees didn't get paid and their taxes didn't get paid.
So they had to effectively cover payroll twice in one pay period.
In essence, that's what happened. But then most of the employees, they were made
Banks covered
whole. It got hopefully they treated the second set of paychecks that all the employees would have gotten as an advance. So the employees had more money and then it all evened out. But so, I mean, as far as the payroll part, that's kind of, the employers are even, but right now, Cache Financial Services, in essence, did pay those employees.
Did you hear the end of the story? Like the money was sent to another bank account, but then where did it go from there?
That is
that the
a
big mystery?
question that we don't have the answer to right now. So what my payroll HR did is they edited their text file and took out the Cache bank information and put in one of Michael Mann's accounts in there. So the money got transferred from the employers to my payroll HR.
Right.
And
when they froze the accounts, we don't know if it was before or after.
Yeah, that money was probably already gone by the time.
It sounds like it was it would take some planning to do that.
Especially, and they did it over Labor Day weekend.
That was purposeful.
Oh yes, because then it took a couple of days for.
We're on vacation, yeah.
Yep. Well, and the banks are closed. Money's not moving.
So where you were talking about somebody else? IOI Payroll said it's another company that's.
Yeah, I'm still researching. They had in July, they bounced a $122 million wire transfer.
It's a big bounce.
It is. And
that could break a bank.
So I know there's 3 banks involved, and I was trying to find the article earlier that I had on my office computer where it talks about the money movement between because there's 3 banks involved. And I am gonna need to do a little bit more research on that one, but it's a South Bend, Indiana payroll company named Interlogic Outsourcing Incorporated.
So I got a really important question. Am I the only person that when everybody starts talking about Nacha and they're talking about the check stuff, this song,
No.
Not Joe Man, goes right into your head right away?
No, I get hungry. I want nacho.
Well, that just, Shannon, emphasizes that the lowest price is not always the best. As with payroll, you've got to have a reputable payroll company. And your reputation is everything.
See, and the thing is, Interlogic and my payroll HR were both, they both had a long track record. They were both reputable. They were both big, or medium sized. Like my payroll HR had about 4,000 customers, and IOI had about 6,000.
You know what? The owner was fairly new, like within 5 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Did they sell? I think they sold.
How do you protect yourself against that? Once upon a time, owners would always have another bank account called Payroll.
Yeah.
But I don't even think that would help.
That wouldn't have made a difference. That wouldn't have made
Yeah, and
it's a trust thing. It's trust.
See, and payroll is pretty unregulated. So, anybody can really start a payroll company and get the experience and do the different things, but there's not a lot of regulation. So, but I think with my payroll HR, with that fraud, there's the ACH pushing companies are developing more internal controls, because Cache Financial Services was completely protected against an outside attack, but they had no no protection against an inside hack,
Right.
which is what happened. Somebody altered their text file.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
Well, and the other is like with QuickBooks, they make sure they get their money before they send it to the employees. That's why why it takes so long. And then I think ADP, I was shocked, the client that I have with ADP, they'll process payroll on Friday and pay on Friday. It's like, so, you know.
well, yeah, and it depends on your length of history with the payroll company too. Because for a while I had 2-day turnaround for my payroll, and now I have 1 day, so I can issue payroll Thursday night and it gets paid Friday morning.
So that's a trust thing. You have earned the trust of doing good business, and they're going to risk that they get their money right. So,
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And, you know, some other payroll companies that I'm aware of, they, in order to get the quicker turnaround, because most of them is it's between a 2 and a 4 day turnaround for payroll. And some of them, to get the faster turnaround, you will have to deposit money into their account in order to get the direct deposit. But then you're still putting money, pre-funding your payroll with a payroll company.
And they're holding your money.
They're holding your money, which wouldn't have protected anybody in these 2 cases.
Right, exactly. That's why I'm saying, what do you do? We may see more regulations come out of this.
Maybe.
You know, and I don't think that's a
bad thing. The banks don't
thing.
seem to be improving. You hear a lot about how they're improving security, but have we really seen? I mean, it's like with a bank account. A bank account should have an account number, a routing number, and a name. There should be a third test there. And there isn't. Bank accounts can have any, I mean, we all see it. People print checks with DBA names, all kinds of names. And, you know, or I've seen checks go through where somebody's stolen a routing number and a checking account number. And then they just print checks and they'll say John Smith. There's no. And
if they're really smart, they put payroll on it, and banks will cash that check.
Right, because they'll do checks like, you know, $462.63 or something. Right. It looks like a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they're small like that and you're a big corporation and somebody's not doing bank recs until the end of the month, and then, you know, then it's like, So I have a client who's leaving a local bank. He's so furious because fraud happened and they made him close the account. And I'm like, that could have happened at any bank.
Exactly.
And they all make you close your account and get a new account.
Yep. That's exactly what you do to fix it.
Be mad at them.
Right. Well, you know, that's the only way to stop them cold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So, it's a sore subject.
All right. Well, Shannon, to be continued.
Yes. So hopefully, in a couple of weeks, I'll know where the employers stand with their payroll liability payments. Because right now they've just been scrambling to come up with the money to make those deposits,
right?
Even though they're late,
employees.
So that they're not.
Well, everybody's got to find out at what point did he stop making tax payments. They wouldn't even know. This could be going on all quarter.
Right, but the payroll liabilities are supposed to be going to NatPay
every week,
and NatPay is. So a lot of times when you're dealing with direct deposit and payroll taxes, you're pushing it to the same financial institution to use their NACHA code for both. But he sent the direct deposit to the employees through Cachet Financial Services, and he sent the tax deposits to National Payments or NatPay.
So he's been working this scheme a long time.
Well, nobody knows what he's doing if he sent the taxes to them or when he sent the taxes to them, right?
You
don't know until your quarterlies are in, and then you start getting notices.
Exactly. Or until you start getting notices, or you contact them and say, hey, look, I was one of those people, I need to know.
Yeah, so anybody, I mean, he could have not been sending the payroll liability payments
For a long time.
order.
I think it takes a long time for them to come back and get you. Yeah, unless you make big,
Yeah,
unless
because
you have
usually
big payroll.
usually the trigger for a late notice is the filing of the quarterly return.
Right.
Right.
And so
Once he
if
got
they
into
stop,
once he got into July, he was free and clear for 90 days
Right.
right.
or more.
All righty. Well, moving
That's
on,
fun.
we saved the best for last. Ernest has some exciting news. There's
Yeah,
some new
Mark.
things. Power BI. What's happening, Ernest?
So, quite a few years ago, I went to my first event at Microsoft, actually in Silicon Valley. Microsoft has promoted Power BI for a really long time. And one of the things that they do is something called dashboard in a day. So now they actually have a nice little manual. Hopefully you can see that.
Yes.
And so the really awesome thing about the dashboard in a day is, just like the title says, they walk you through, this manual will walk you through from zero to dashboard in one day.
Nice. I'm so happy to see a manual. Really.
I know, what's that?
Yeah.
But then you're
No,
physically going over to the Microsoft building, right? Are you spending a day?
Yeah, right here in Boise. Microsoft has an office in downtown. So, I felt like, a lot has happened. I mean, they do releases of Power BI every month. So, I just felt like it was a good time. And as it turns out, it worked out really well for me. So I'm just going to actually show you the dashboard that I created in that day. This is the actual one that I created. And there's a lot of visual elements to this particular dashboard, but I'm gonna try to pull a couple of them out. One in particular really was exciting to me, so I'll save the best for last. So one of the things that was very fascinating is Microsoft. This has actually been around for a while, but so you see all these logos up here.
Yeah.
These are actually, in the actual data, there's actually just a link to the icons, right? So if I went and looked at the raw data for that, all I would see would be for the manufacturer, there's just a link to the logo. Okay, so Power BI is actually just smart enough. So imagine that like I do, like a product catalog. So if you wanted to actually have products up there, you could actually have products up there. So you just literally just have the link to the picture, and you can display that in a page, right?
Nice.
So it makes it more graphically pleasing to folks, right? So I can actually see images, and so these are actually hot links. So as I actually select the logo, the numbers here are changing, both the revenue by country, the revenue and prior year sales, as well as current year percentage of total in prior year. All those numbers are changing as I click off on different manufacturers. So I think that's really, a very graphically pleasing thing to be able to do that, right? Intuitive, just like I want to see the sales for that manufacturer, right? That one. And one of the things that's really interesting, you go, wow, okay, so if I get a particular vineyard that I want to drill in on, there's lots of ways that you can do that. One of the things that I thought was really sexy, this is fairly new in the product, but I can actually, like an analyst, walk in and I can go kind of drill through this and create different snapshots of it. And then over here in the bookmarks area, I can bookmark them, right? So I might be looking at this and saying, well, my Australian sales seem to be going up, right? And then I can go and spotlight different areas and go, oh, all right, I see some interesting stuff in the Aussie land, and wow, they've got really explosive growth. and I can build a narrative with pictures to back it up with, this combination of tools. And then if I want to drill into the Aussie growth, I've bookmarked filtering and exploding that view so I can see it right there. So I have this interactive conversation, say with the board, right? Instead of just trying to build a PowerPoint deck, which you might want to do, I can actually do this. And then when somebody goes, what's going on with convenience? I can actually drill in and look at the product level detail at that point, right? So I'm not constrained at this point to a slide deck that's very stagnant. I'm actually interactive, and then I can kind of go back onto my my spiel and go, hey, you want to know where the sales are all coming from? It's coming from this product right here, this period.
So this is meant to be presented at a meeting or something like that.
Well, I think it's a lot.
I mean, it's not like you're going to be able to take a chart and hand them out to people. You need to.
Well, I think that that's certainly one way that can be used. I wouldn't want you to think that's all it's for. But so this feature of being able to create bookmarks in the product is useful certainly for meetings, but it's also useful for being able to kind of pass it over with an email saying, hey, go look at, the bookmarks for, the sales matrix, because there's some pretty interesting things. And, you can say, go to bookmark number 3, the one that says Aussie, and, show what that looks like. So I think that's an interesting thing, because by itself, right, I'm going to close bookmarks. So this report is interactive all the time, right? So whether I call it a report, a dashboard, whatever you want to call it, this information is live, right? So to the extent that I go over here to Australia, right, and I click on that, all of these things are changing, right? So every time I click somewhere, so it's not just a presentation tool, it's really giving you the ability to run your company and get the information you need to run your country or company. So I guess, I'm going to wrap this up with kind of, if you will, the grand finale, if you will, the thing that is kind of new to me that I hadn't seen before, that I was pretty impressed with, and that's this little VCR control over here on the left. And so the VCR control on the left, let me give you a couple of things in background. So you can step through any series of data that you want, and you control that right over here where it says field. So in this case, I'm actually going to step through years in time, right? So there's only a couple of years worth of data here, so it goes by pretty fast. But when I hit the VCR button to go, right, right here, it's going to step through sales for 2012, and then it's on a timer. When it gets past the timer, it'll step up to the next year, right, for 2013, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right?
Cool.
Like a movie?
So, kind of like a movie, right? So there's 2013, there's 2014, 2015. It's just walking through the data incrementally, right?
That's cool.
Very cool.
And
yeah, I like that little part.
You would have this dashboard available to whoever in your company that needs to see it.
Right, and it's it's a great analytical tool, and so I like the idea of the bookmarks, because sometimes when I've gone in to look at information and I've drilled down a certain way, or I've looked at things a certain way, and it's something I'd like to go back to, and I don't want to have to redo that every time I do that, so I can bookmark that and go back to that view.
Sort of like memorize.
Bookmark,
memorize.
I understand the value of that, having used this tool. But yeah, this whole dashboard thing is, it's great for internal use. It can be for clients, showing the financials and.
Well, that's what I was thinking, Mark, actually, for as us as pro advisors, to control this and then take it and show it to our clients.
Right. Yeah, it's a great tool for that. You know, if you want to go through and step through things, and if they ask you questions, you can drill down into the information.
Well, Ernest, is this, you were talking about the QBO integration that they're working on or trying to improve? Where are we?
Are you my straight man today?
Huh?
Are you my straight man today?
She's got a list of things to prompt Ernest on. Yeah, that's the.
Now, you know, so as it turns out.
Where did this data come from? The play data.
Yeah, so that is all literally just nothing more than comma separated value files. Right? That's all it is. In fact, go back to, you know, the manual, right? Dashboard in a day. So all they do is at the very beginning of this, they walk through the process of taking these text files and just load them in, right? So, I mean, if I dug deep enough underneath the covers here, I don't want to bore everybody with that, but so there's a whole background back here that walks through different, you know, data sets and how it actually gets kind of modeled around so that it's can be presented in a very simplistic way.
Yeah.
So, and that's also a big part of the power. So, speaking of QuickBooks, so it turns out that I already have it open. My straight man there for me. Thanks, sir. So the connector is available now for QuickBooks Online. So, like, here is QuickBooks Online data, and I'm going to hit the VCR button on that, right? And so just like in the CSV files, if you look real quick, you'll see that it's actually flipping through what items I sell the most in each year.
So it is connected to a company's QBO file.
So, yeah, so this is a live.
It's connected to QuickBooks Online.
Yeah, so unlike the stuff that, you know, this is one of the things I was going to point out. You know, unlike the what you were just doing, which was static data. It was, you know, CSV files and text file, you know, that were downloaded, and you were running information against that. This is live data that is being updated. So, and then one thing that, you know, people say, well, it's static data and you have to update it all the time. The nice thing is that if you say you have several systems that you can produce certain reports out of, and combining all that information is how you get, you know, you do your analysis. Well, all you have to do is create those reports, stick them in the same place every time, and press a button to refresh the data, and it goes through all the machinations to combine that information and present it. So even when you're dealing with static data, it can be, you know, it's very helpful. So
yeah, it's very helpful. And like I said, I meonline, in this particular instance, right, this is actually connected directly to QuickBooks Online.
Nice.
So the QuickBooks Online connector is out there. It's available. It's got lots of different data types. It's over here on the right-hand side. This particular model doesn't even have them all. Yeah. So it's kind of an exciting thing. And I'll just turn it over to the map, you know, to kind of wind up, right? And just go, like, you know, and again, same kind of a deal with the VCR control. It works in any way.
And these are where
so
sales.
Even with a map.
What this is showing is a map of where the sales were made. Is that what we're looking at?
So the map actually is like in 2017. That's where all of my sales were, right? So, and then I step forward here to
Sarah down there in the southeast Georgia area. You're big and hot.
Yeah. What's your zip code?
31410. Ah, that's it. That's you working for me. Yeah. Man, you're expensive. That's funny. That's great. Though.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
Right?
Very
Kind of cool that he just, walks right through that.
You're needy.
I'm just needy. Ernest. Fix it. Fix it, Ernest. That's great.
So it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And,
Very cool.
a neat note on that. Office 365, if you have Office 365, the enterprise, the enterprise licenses, you can actually go into there's a dashboard you can install for Azure AD, and it'll show you all the logins from where everybody logged in from, and who, and it'll show a map of
a dashboard only an IT guy would love, right?
But you can see all the people trying to log in from China. So
Very
I like
cool.
it. And you can now you can actually iterate that over time.
Nice.
That's really cool. So it goes back in the past and then goes up into the today.
Well, I think sometimes people need to understand, how their sales are changing over time in terms
Oh,
of
absolutely.
geography, product. I mean, that changes in business are epic, right? So whether you use the bookmarks to kind of go drill down and find the key answers and then go directly to them, or you just put it on a cycle, right? I think those are two really powerful tools to walk away from today.
Nice. Nice.
Ooh, something I want to play with.
Yeah. All righty. Well, we are a little over. Is there anything else that we want to talk about today before we end?
Do you want to see what I'm doing tomorrow?
What are you doing tomorrow, Miss Sarah?
We're being interviewed for foster parents.
Aww.
And they're going to bring this one. Her name is Cash Issue Adorable.
He is.
Anyway, I'm like, we're not ready for a new dog yet, but he's like, they want to meet us, and so this is Cashew.
So you're gonna foster parent?
Maybe, yeah. We're gonna find out how it works and everything, and then because I need some fur. I need fur. But if we foster, then we can do it, as we need, if we're here for a couple of months, we can, without trouble.
Right. Do it when you're around. So awesome. Enjoy. Have fun with it.
I said, at least bring me something to play with.
Aww.
But it apparently has that grin on its face like 24/7. This dog is just. It's smaller. I've always had 50-pound dogs. This one's 30, so that would be different. But anyway. Next time.
30-pound dogs are good. That's what I have. Right, Muggs?
30-pounders. A 30-pounder.
Well, Shannon has new kittens, I was told earlier.
Yeah.
They are going to be 4 weeks old tomorrow, and I've already kicked them out of the house.
Well,
there's
how many are there?
6.
6.
Now
How old do they have to be before you can start adopting them out? 6 weeks?
6 weeks. But no, my plan was to keep them and get the boys fixed and then just keep them outside. But we don't have any external outdoor structures right now because we're still working on building the inside of this one.
Like, who takes precedence, the cat or the mom?
We'll see.
All righty, everybody. We will see you same time, same place next week.
Bye. Have a nice weekend.
Bye.